Derry. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing absolutely awesome. We have the Sledster right here.
We do.
But I have a question for you. And many of the people that are subscribing and watching this particular series have a really big question.
What's that?
How do you do it?
Oh.
How do you do it?
With tools.
With tools?
Yes.
And what I mean, okay, so you must have just massive amounts of tools.
I'm a toolaholic if you haven't figured that out yet.
Let me see something. The back of the shirt is what I want to see.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like this.
Tell me about this company that obviously is advertised on the back of your shirt. It's also over here, and it also has a lot to do with these tools right here. What about this company?
These are shrinker stretchers tools. This company builds an array of different woodworking and sheet metal, steel fabrication tools. Really high-end, nice stuff. Yeah, for the convenience of running from one to the other, it's nice to have two machines, and then I can shrink and then immediately go over and stretch on the other one. And we'll show you that in a few minutes how that works. When I'm building a structure that needs some inner framework, a lot of times I'll go to a piece of 16 gauge 90-degree metal. This will do the framework, and then I can attach sheet metal to it and it'll hold it in place. So if it's a complex curb or something, I can start manipulating it with these two tools. This one being a stretcher. If you watch closely, this one works extremely easy. You just put them in the jaws, and the jaws grab it and just basically rip it apart.
Look at that.
I usually make a pattern and then check it against the pattern, but you can see that's pretty quickly manipulated to that shape.
No kidding. And you're just using pedal pressure.
Pedal pressure, yeah, and the machine itself. But yeah, that works pretty easily. You got to be careful with this one almost half the time. But compressing it is a little harder to do. Same machine, it just does the opposite. When I got to stand on it a little harder.
Look at that. Look at the curve. It's starting to occur. Look at that.
Yeah. So you can do all sorts of neat things with it. And then if I build a shape like this, there's something I can attach my sheet metal to, and this holds it in place and gives it a lot of strength without adding a lot of weight.
What if I wanted to do something like, I don't know, you have this great pattern that's right here that you see throughout the Sledster.
Yeah.
How does that occur?
I have a bead rolling machine that I'll do that, so I'll come up with something, you know, that I want to build, and I want to roll beads in it, and they have all sorts of different dies for different depths or shapes of these beads. As you can see here, I draw a pattern on it first, and then take it over to the machine and set it up, and then crank it down, and it walks around the whole thing and makes this little bead, and we'll show you that in a second here.
I can't imagine that working, only because I've never seen it before. Can we see it?
Yep, let's do it.
All right.
This machine is made by Mittler Brothers. It's a really deep throat machine, it's the largest one that they got, and it's got the biggest, most powerful motor on it. And these are the dies, and down here is a bunch of other dies that I bought that does different shapes and sizes and stuff like that.
And it looks like it's foot controlled.
Yeah, there's a foot control, and it's variable speed, so you can slow way down or speed way up, which makes it nice. So the pattern's right there. You set it in the machine, you line it up. I wear my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Crank it down. Now I've got to crank down where I know it's compressing it. And as you can see, we're going to start rolling. This is where it gets a little trickier. You got to follow that line, kind of anticipate the curb. And I can speed up fast like that or slow way down.
Look at that. Look at that perfect impression.
I don't know about perfect, but it's a nice impression. But that's how it's done.
Awesome.
Isn't that neat?
Bead rolling, okay.
Adds strength to the panel too. The little bit of bend that's in there makes it a little more rigid, and it gives it design also. So a lot of times when I'm doing a big panel, you got to stop in the middle and turn the dies around and flip it over so because it'll run into the end sometimes, but this is a smaller piece. But as you can see, it does a nice little impression there.
That's cool.
After making something like that, if I want to make this a nice big round radius, I come up with this idea the other day. If I don't have a fancy machine that would roll it, which I could, I just don't have one yet, but I can crank this thing underneath this. Now I made a radius, and this bead that I rolled on here is not too overly deep where it distorts it.
So what if I wanted to do something more along the lines of like ribbing, like in a step?
That machine right there I bought a few years ago. It's called a Mini Max. What's nice about it, you can make your own dies, and this set of dies I made myself. And on the truck, on the step inside the truck, I put these little ribs to give it a little bit of character and add strength to it, and that's how I did that. Let me set up a piece of metal and I'll show you how it works.
All right.
So this is a piece I'm going to demo on. This little piece here I've clamped to it. It helps me guide along so I can keep this rib that I'm going to stamp into it nice and straight.
Awesome.
All right, watch this.
Look at that!
Got away from me just a little bit there, but that's why it's really important to have that fence on there. But makes a nice impression. And you can make any kind of shape you want, any width.
And what if I wanted to, I don't know, do like a rounded corner or something like that?
Well, say if I wanted to make this edge here roll nice and gently around, or on a real aggressive bend, this power hammer does that. Depending on the dies I put in there, this one has a slight curve on the bottom, this upper one's flat. I can stick it in here and quickly
What did you call yourself? A tool what?
a holic.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to change this. We're gonna make it PG. You're a tool whore.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so cool.
But yeah, look at what we can do so quickly. You can do that with a hammer and a dolly, but this is, it hits so much faster, and you can stand there and watch it make its shape. That's what the beauty of that tool is too.
I understand that you have a little history with this particular tool.
Yeah, years ago when I was starting to get the idea I could make my own parts and stuff, I found this company that made this kit, which included this aircraft air hammer basically without a handle on it, as you can see. But this is aircraft stuff apparently, and this guy makes these kits. All this black stuff you see right here is part of the kit, and then down below there's a whole array of dies that they sell along with it. And to save money, I built my own framework to hold it, so you can see it's got a really deep throat. If you had a big piece of metal, you could move around in here. One other thing I did with this tool is it's filled full of silica sand. It's very heavy, but all that noise you heard me making with it and vibration, it kind of muffles it a little bit and helps it not vibrate so bad. And it's a fun tool to use.
And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the English wheel that so many people say it takes a master. It's almost like an art form to make something like this work. Tell us more about this one and how you make it work.
I bought this a few years ago, and what it does, imagine the roof of a car, and you know it has a really nice dome, subtle dome on it. This is a tool that would do that. That tool over there that I just demoed with the power hammer, I guess on small pieces you could do a nice subtle dome, but when you have something big, this is the tool that'll do it. And the lower die you can see is curved, the upper one is flat, and what it's doing is just squeezing it and stretching it in all four directions. So when I roll this in there, it'll start causing a curb on it. And let me show you how that works.
So you're basically turning a clamp down below with your feet,
yeah,
and
pushing
feeding
it up
more
into
pressure.
So yeah, it's pushing that up in there, and it's just stretching the metal. You can kind of see the lines that it's creating on the surface.
You can also start seeing the bend.
Yeah. See, it's starting to dome it.
There it is.
And when you want something subtle, this is the way to do it.
Wow.
By putting this rubber band on here, it only lets it bend in 2 directions. It'll just follow the curve of this lower die. It won't do it all 4 directions. So now I could take the same piece of metal
There it goes.
So I want to make it bend just in one direction. I can do that. But you can see it's starting to dome it in one direction.
Right. Look at that. And look at how subtle and how perfect it is.
Yeah. So like if I were using this to be a side of a fender and I needed to roll this top and it was quite long, that would be one way of shaping it, is with this rubber band. So I could continually roll it over and it would just give it that kind of shape.
What do you want to tell everybody, Jeremy?
Subscribe, tell all your friends, hit the like button.
Absolutely, for sure. Spread the word around.
All right, thanks guys for watching.
Another episode of That Was Close.